Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is November 12th, 2025, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? I am Ben Dickerson. I am your co host. I am a New York Giants fan. I just lost my head coach to firing. Well deserved. GM is dead man walking, as far as I'm concerned. But for some strange reason, they want him to help them pick out a new head coach. Oh, the drama.
Yeah, you also got a new quarterback that'll be starting from what I understand.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that.
Let me just
That's
say,
that's
the,
believe me, it's well deserved. It's the smart move. It's the right thing to do.
okay,
There's
all
no
right,
question about it. No
all right.
question in my mind.
Good, good, good. All I can think of is that the yucks will be inevitable. There will be some yucks. Matter of fact, it's already been a yuck because there was a interview where he started singing.
Yeah, he's
So
happy.
you
I
gotta
would be
love that
too.
guy, man. You gotta love that guy. All right, Benny, let's get ready to kick this thing off. First off, again, this is week 11, the Bias Plus reports for week 11. Indianapolis Colts, who we talked about a little bit, and the New Orleans Saints are on buys. Got any fantasy advice for these guys?
Absolutely. No Jonathan Taylor this week, folks.
Right,
If he's
right.
been carrying you, you ain't got him this week. You got to come up with something else.
That's for sure. That's for
No
sure.
key. The only key Saints players would probably be possibly the tight end, Juwan Johnson, and Chris Olave.
Oh yeah, yeah, Chris. Right, right.
Olave's having a good game, a good season. Yeah,
All right.
last couple games he's been good.
Okay, so there's your bye week. We want to make sure we got that small piece of business out the way. Now let's talk about Thursday night football. Jets at Patriots. Bias plus score of 16.4 favors the Patriots, Benny. When you look at the bias plus, you look at the rankings for the net points and points for, points against, and turnover differential, you'll see that Jets rank 25th in net points, Patriots rank 6th. Therein lies a big wide gap between the +7 and the -5. And Patriots are looking better in terms of turnover differential. So bias plus favors the Patriots by a score of 16.4. What say you?
16.4, that's a pretty healthy bias, but I mean, the rankings pretty much spell it out for you. That's the way it's supposed to be, I suppose. Or as a famous person once said, your record is, no, you are what your record says you are. So there you have it.
There you go.
Drake May. Every week, I'm talking about Drake May. Him and the New England Patriots are just chugging along, man, like there's nothing can stand in their way. It's crazy. Last Sunday was their seventh win in a row and possibly their most impressive win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hard fought 28-23 victory. They did it the old fashioned way. Their offensive line protected Drake May, and it opened up holes for rookie running back Travion Henderson. And the defensive front seven continued to be the best run defense in the league. If there's anything you want to fear when it comes to New England and their defense, it's trying to run the ball against them. Them
Wow.
boys are rough.
Really?
They are tough. You
Okay.
can throw it on them, but if you're trying to get a run game established, you're going to be hard pressed. Now the Jets are 2-7, mostly because they make mistakes that bad teams make. And you'll hear that said all the time too. Bad when somebody makes a bad mistake, you say that's the kind of mistake that a bad team makes. That's the Jets. Last Sunday they were horrible on third down efficiency, and they had 7 penalties. That's bad. I didn't even take note of how much yardage they were assessed in penalties because 7 penalties is just horrendous. Now I picked the Browns to win this game. Justin Fields only turned it over once, and he only got sacked 3 times, but he also only led the Jets to 2 offensive touchdowns and 2 field goals. That's 4 scores. Yet they still won the game 27-20 because they did what good teams do. They played hard in all 3 phases, and they got 2 special teams touchdowns on back-to-back kick returns. One a kickoff, one a punt. So there you have it. Play good in all 3 phases, you got a chance to win the game, even when you turn the ball over. However, going to New England is going to be a tough task. I have to go with the Patriots. I have no choice.
Got to do it, Benny. Got to do it, no doubt. All right, there you go. Ben's going with the bias, going with the Patriots. Next up. Say it with me, Benny. The Commanders at the Dolphins. Bias plus score of 0.7 favors the Dolphins.
Ooh, this is close.
Yeah, well, the Commanders are ranked 27th in net points, and the Dolphins are 24th. They're both in the negative on both points and on turnover differential. So one's just a little less than the other. Matter of fact, Commanders have a slight edge in terms of turnover, but couldn't overcome the difference in the net points. So 0.7 favors the Dolphins. And Benny, I was watching some of the highlights from last week, and you know what I keep remembering? What did we say? There's always a chance with A-Chan.
Well, that's what you always say, but yeah, you got a point there. He's dangerous. He's extremely dangerous. It's funny that these 2 teams are playing each other this week after the games that they had the previous week. I got to give kudos to the Commanders, though, because they continued to fight throughout the game, especially on offense. Well, defensively, they couldn't do much. But offensively, they continued to fight, continued to try to put points on the board against a Lions team that they never really had a chance of competing with. Lions were just too strong, especially with the defense as severely crippled with injuries as they are. They had 0 sacks. You don't hear me say that very often. The Commanders had 0 sacks and 0 tackles for loss. I'm sorry, zeros. 0 tackles for loss. You never hear me say that. They didn't touch anybody. And the Lions came away with points on every offensive possession except their last one when they were just running out the clock at the end of the game. Washington, with that messed up defense, is in serious trouble. Serious, serious trouble. Now, the Dolphins, who will be at home. By the way, both teams are 3-7, so something's got to give. The Dolphins, who are at home. Now, if you asked me last week, which I don't think you did, but in case you did, what I thought it would take for the Dolphins to have a chance to beat the Bills. If you had asked me that question, Ben, what do you think it would take for the Dolphins to beat the Bills? I would say, and this is serious, I would say they have to stop the Bills' run game. Ha ha ha. Cash in on a couple of turnovers. Maybe. And they have to protect Tua like never before. Also, they would need to take advantage of the Bills' weak run defense and get A-Chan going in a major way. And guess what? That's exactly what happened.
Yes.
Every single one of those things happened. All I can say is the Dolphins are showing signs of life, and the Commanders are showing signs of absolutely nothing. Their defense is so wrecked. I don't care how good Mariota plays. I can't see them being able to handle the Dolphins. A-Chan alone can beat the Commanders. I got to go with the Dolphins.
All right, Benny. Makes sense. Makes sense. So you are going with the
Dolphins.
Going with the Dolphins. Going with A-Chan. Panthers at Falcons. Panthers at Falcons. Bias plus score 4.3 favors the Falcons, Benny. Panthers are ranked 22nd. Falcons are ranked 23rd. However, it swings on turnover differential for these guys. And you got a -5 and a +6. That's a good swing of about 11 on the number line. So going toward the Falcons, who you got?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The Falcons got the bias? 4.3?
Yeah.
Now, see, this is funny. So the Falcons are 3-6. The Panthers, who I've been really trying really hard to root for, especially Bryce Young, are 5-5. But the Falcons have the bias because of the way that they win. So the way they won their 3 wins and the way the Panthers won their 5 wins or lost 5 wins has something to do with the bias, obviously. But
Okay.
I digress. Bottom line is the NFC South is a rough place to live right now. Not because everybody's good, but because everybody's sort of kind of mediocre and just beating each other's heads in. And the Buccaneers, I don't think they're having too much trouble with anybody in the division, but outside the division, teams are looking at them like a top team, which they should. But yeah, those last minute wins that Mayfield was pulling out at the end of games, not so many of them anymore. Anyway, if I remember correctly, before the season started, I expected the Bucs to defend the division championship in the NFC South. I think I said I expected Atlanta to challenge, and I expected some improvement from Bryce Young in Carolina. I had nothing positive to say about New Orleans. So, of course, on Sunday, the Panthers hosted the 1-8 Saints at home after winning 4 of their last 5 and lost to the Saints. I don't, it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's what division games will do for you. Now they got to go to Atlanta, another division game. Meanwhile, the Falcons had a tough task against the Colts in Indianapolis, but they seemed up for it. Even though they had little to no success stopping Jonathan Taylor, they did have 9 tackles for loss. And I'll tell you something, tackles for loss are funny. The more a team runs the ball, the more chance they have of getting tackled for loss. Doesn't necessarily mean the other team is dominant, the defense is dominating them. However, again, I digress. 9 tackles for loss. They sacked Daniel Jones 7 times for 27 yards in losses. They intercepted him once. They forced him to fumble 3 times. They recovered 1 of them. He was a mess. He looked like the New York version of Daniel Jones. Anytime anybody got close enough to sneeze on him, he dropped the ball on the ground. That's the Daniel Jones I remember that wore this right here.
Well, the
They
funny
had
part,
the
Benny, is that I no longer have to say what I was going to say about Daniel Jones because you just said it.
yeah. But don't get me wrong now. I'm not saying he's turning back into a pumpkin. All I'm saying is when he first went there, the first thing I said is he should have some success because I like Shane Steichen as a play caller and a head coach, but they're going to have to protect him because if you don't protect this guy, he'll cough it up. He won't just take a bunch of, he'll cough it up. He will turn it over. I don't know if you can coach that out of a quarterback. You might be able to tell a running back to hold it high and tight and not fumble so much. But a quarterback who's back there in the pocket and feeling the pressure, I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that game ended up going overtime. Both the defenses have shown signs of life, but the Falcons defense is coming in hot, and the Panthers defense looked defeated after their last game. So I'm going to go with the Falcons at home to win this one.
Going with the bias. Going with the Falcons. Their turnover differential was the difference, I'm telling you. All right. This should be fun, Benny. Bears at Vikings. Bias plus score of 10 favors the Bears. Bears getting it in, Benny. Caleb versus JJ. Bears are ranked 16th in net points. Vikings are ranked 18th. So they just got a bit of a lead on them. And of course, that turnover differential is big at plus 1.6 versus the Vikings minus 0.8. So relative to both points and both turnover differential. The Bears are looking a little bit better, but this is also a division matchup, right?
Also a division matchup. Also a matchup of quarterbacks chosen in the first round of the draft, in the same draft. Big difference is one of them's got 20 something games under his belt, and the other one's got 4. So the Bears held a 7-0 lead in the first quarter of their game with the Giants. They lost it in the second quarter, and they didn't get the lead back until minute 47 left in regulation, as the Giants slowly melted down for the entire second half and ended up coughing it up. I gotta say though, Caleb Williams continues to impress me. He passed for a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. He gained 63 yards rushing. That's big for him because he ain't really a runner. But he ran. He was smart. He knew when to get down. He helped his offense. In fact, that was the most yards he had rushing all season so far. And 0 turnovers. No fumbles, Daniel Jones. No fumbles. Now, after looking pretty good in his third NFL start back in week 9, J.J. McCarthy looked pretty ordinary in his 4th start last weekend against the Ravens. In fact, the Vikings looked pretty ordinary as a team. They turned the ball over 3 times. Oh my God, they were penalized 13 times. That's ridiculous. And 7 of 13 were false start penalties. No excuse. No excuse whatsoever. I'm sorry. I'm picking the visiting Bears to go in there and beat them boys.
Going with the bias. Going with the Bears. All right, here we go. Next up, Bengals at Steelers. Again, division, right? Am I correct?
You are correct.
Bias plus score of 13.6, however, favors those Steelers, Benny. Oh, man. Flacco versus Aaron. Probably the 2 richest quarterbacks in the league in terms of total net worth. That's a lot of money running around out there.
Yeah, they made a lot of money, that's for sure. I got a quick question for you. Flacco, Hall of Fame?
I'm the wrong person to ask. Why is that?
Oh,
Why is that? He won a Super Bowl.
he did win a Super Bowl. Oh, that's right. So that's automatic induction for you.
As far as I'm concerned.
What are you not? That's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
If I remembered that, I wouldn't have asked you. But believe me, I understand because that's your thing. I get it. I get it.
Exactly.
No problem. Now, the Steelers lost to the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. And you know what? I thought that was going to be a way better game, man. I'm sorry. It wasn't. In fact, I turned it off. And when I cut on the Sports Center the next morning, Mike Tomlin said it best. We stunk it up tonight. Quote, unquote. Thank you, Mike Tomlin. Aaron Rodgers looked incompetent. The run game continues to sputter. The defense continues to be wildly inconsistent. Steelers are not a team you should trust. I know those fans in Pittsburgh are not used to this. They got to be going crazy. Now, the Bengals are coming off the bye. Last time we saw them, they were losing a barn burner to Chicago. There must have been 80-something points scored in that game. I forget the score. But the word is Joe Burrow's on his way back. I believe he is practicing in a limited fashion this week. I don't know if he's going to play this weekend. I don't think so. But if he does, and even if he doesn't come back to week 12, Cincinnati's going to make one of those late season runs like they always try to do. So we'll have to wait and see.
Let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
So Joe Burrow comes back.
Yes.
Flacco's scoring 40 points a game. Is he going to?
So what?
Does he think he's going to make that much of a difference?
He's the starter.
So
what do you mean? So
I'm talking about point production. Burrow's going to come in. He's going to score more than what Flacco's scoring, or What would be the big difference? Because Flacco's running the offense, it's the defense that's selling them out.
Okay, so when Purdy's okay and Purdy can run again, what's going to happen to Mac Jones?
Mac Jones is going to sit down, but it's the defense
Exactly, it's the
that's
same
selling
thing.
us out. I'm not saying I'm not
That doesn't
saying
matter.
Flacco shouldn't sit down. What I'm saying is the expected result if Burrow comes back, if with Flacco scoring the way he has been, he's been running that offense at an excellent level. Their problem is defense. So you can bring Burrow back, but do you really expect a different outcome in their games?
Okay. If Flacco stays in there, is there going to be a different outcome of their games? It's the same
Again, it's
defense
the
playing for both
defense.
guys.
It's the defense. So neither
So
one
it
of them.
doesn't matter if you or me quarterbacks then.
Well, that's my whole point.
Starter that's
So
making
what you're
all the
saying is
money.
it's not going to make a difference.
No, it's not going to make a difference.
Okay, that's what I want to know. The way you were saying, if Flacco's like
Yeah, but
Burrow's
the way
coming
you were
back, I'm
saying
like,
is
okay,
like
so what?
but the way you were saying was like they should consider keeping Flacco in.
No, I wasn't saying that at all.
Oh,
No.
okay, all right. No, they. Why would they expect a different outcome? It was that way before he got hurt. What's going to change? Defense is the defense. That's the way it is.
Okay.
Starters in the NFL don't lose their jobs because of injury.
I got no
Does not
problem with
happen.
that. I got no problem. I just didn't know if you expected anything different. Okay.
No,
So,
I don't expect nothing different.
all right. So here we go.
So that being said, I expect them to beat the Steelers.
You do?
Yes, I do.
So you're going
No matter
against the
which
bias.
no
Going with
matter
the
which
Bengals
one of
over the
them
Steelers.
here's the deal. No matter which one of them starts, Flacco or Burrow, they're going to ring up numbers on the Steelers like you wouldn't believe. And Aaron Rodgers will not be able to compete. Period.
All right. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, it's that defense, man. Bengals, giving up 33.3 points per game, 32nd place, last place. They're the last place defense in the league. So, all right, we'll see how that works out. But you're going with the Bengals over the Steelers, going against the bias. Next
Absolutely.
up, Benny, Packers coming to visit your New York Football Giants. Bias plus score 10.9. Benny favors the Packers. Packers are ranked 10th in net points. Giants are 26. What do you got on this?
Boy, talk about a team not to trust. So I'm on Facebook and I'm going by all the Eagle fans' posts because I don't go on their posts anymore. I don't go in their comments and make comments anymore after I got lambasted going on 3 months ago, probably talking about the tush push and them false starting on tush push. And since I said it and got crushed for it, they've been caught doing it every game, at least once every game, and haven't had it called on them yet at all.
There should be an investigation. There has to be.
Well, I'm not going to say that. All I'm going to say is for the people who were defending that mess, okay, and then they're like, well, you should figure out how to stop it, or why don't you run it? How come you can't run it? So now teams like Buffalo, teams like the Packers, other teams, they are running it. And when they false start, they get called.
They get called.
Crazy. But again, I digress. A lot of
Well,
digression by me.
before you undigress, let me just say the funniest tush push in the league, in my opinion, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because Aaron Rodgers stands back and lets everybody else do all the tushing and the pushing and all. He's standing in the back. He don't get nowhere near that pile of mess.
What? Oh, they direct snap it to a back?
Yeah. Or to whoever's going to run the ball back.
Wait a minute. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to get on a pile up?
Well, obviously not. But the thing, they don't even have him out of the play. He's on the field for the play, but he's just standing 10 yards back watching that whole mess happen, I think it's hilarious. What can I tell you?
I, I don't know what I think. That's just insane. Just line up in the Wildcat, put him out wide, or take him off the field.
Take them off the field or something, but it is funny. It is funny. So, okay, go ahead.
Oh, you know what? They might be setting up a fake later on where the guy goes to dive into the pile and turns around and flips it back to him and he throws it.
Could be, but I
Yeah,
doubt it.
but I doubt it. Anyway, this guy doesn't even want his teammates to bump him,
Oh, I'm
let
telling you.
alone get in a pile up.
I
Unbelievable.
can hear him
So,
now. I heard somewhere people get hurt in that down there.
yeah. Somebody told me you get hurt in there. I'm not going in there. So anyway, so all these Eagle fans are saying, uh, don't be distressed by how we looked. It was a good win because it was a defensive battle. I'm like, yeah, y'all call that a defensive battle? I don't know. I didn't see it that way. Uh, yeah, the Packers were able to harass Jalen Hurts enough to get him off of his square. That's true. He did look a little flustered. But other than a forced fumble and the recovery of that forced fumble and a pretty pedestrian day for Saquon, the Packers defense didn't impress me much at all. Yeah, they had 6 tackles for loss because the Eagles ran the ball like 30 something times, which is what they're supposed to do. But they didn't get much yardage because just like everybody else, just like I told you, week 1, now we're going into week 11. Everybody's going to try to stop Saquon and make Hurts beat him. And a lot of times he still is, but these games are getting touch and go. But, a win is a win, right? They had 6 tackles for loss, but didn't have any sacks. They had 0 sacks. And Micah Parsons was a nuisance, but he only made 1 solo tackle. No sacks, 1 solo tackle for Micah Parsons, a guy they gave up 2 number 1 draft picks for. You call that a defensive battle? That it was a one-sided battle, if you ask me, and was no battling on the Green Bay side. Now,
Let me ask you this question.
yes,
And relative to Michael Parsons, okay, I'm
yes,
watching him, and he reminds me of Bosa for my Niners, where you
yes.
got a mobile quarterback, and you have these guys that are so used to sacking the quarterbacks, they just come hell bent and they give up the outside, you know. And I saw
Sometimes
Michael Parsons doing that 2 or 3 times. You know, once he gets on the inside, the offensive lineman just keep him in, and he's just and I'm
they
thinking
watch him down.
I would have put Michael Parsons almost as a spy and let him play that middle deep, that middle zone area, and if Hurts goes left or right, he goes left or right. He's spying with him. But I'd place him, and then if they want to blitz him from the middle every once in a while just to shake things up, fine. But he's the guy that can run down Hurts, And so I'm thinking that rather than having him just, hell bent coming off the edge and giving up the outside like that, put him someplace where he can be constructive. That's my thought. What do you think?
I agree with you 1,000%. And they should have schemed that up during the week because Hurts is a guy, if he sees green grass on the outside, I don't care what play he had called, he will tuck it and run. If the first down marker is within his eyesight, he's out of there. He's out of there. So you can't attack him and spin move or whatever and come inside and let the lineman wash you down because he's gone.
He's out.
He's gone. He ain't going to
Yeah.
stay back there and wait for you. He's gone.
And he should be.
And he should be.
Yeah.
And he's I would say he's famous for that, but I've watched enough Eagles games to know he will not hesitate if he's anywhere within. I've seen him do it on 2nd and 10. I
Yeah.
can run 10 yards. I can beat you to that marker. You,
Yeah.
you can see the little thought bubble over his head. I can beat you to that marker. And he does it most of the time. And if he doesn't, if he gets 9 yards, he'll just run out of bounds.
Yeah.
And they'll
Oh,
get it
yeah.
on the next down.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And like I said, he don't hesitate. Not at all.
Well, I will give him credit for that little pass out to Barkley late in the game in a flat. Barkley shook the poor guy. Yeah, the guy was faced up with him, man. The next thing you know, the guy was facing the dirt. But it was a play that really helped them, and he was getting the heat, and he just happened to look over, and Barkley standing right there in the flat. So he didn't run that time, but he made one of the better passes of the game. So, all right, what do you got from here?
Okay, Giants. Well, at least they're home. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So here's the deal. When you have play calling issues and or you can't seem to score points or put together a competent offensive attack, you got to start looking at your head coach and your offensive coordinator. What's going on? Where's the disconnect? When your secondary keeps getting out leveraged or your gap integrity on run play seems to always have issues, I'm talking about game after game, you start looking at your head coach and your defensive coordinator. Where's the disconnect? What's happening? What are you doing wrong? Let's get this fixed. But when you blow 4 double-digit leads in your first 10 games, turning a possible 6-4 record into a 2-8 record, you fired a freaking head coach. And that's exactly what they did. And I'm glad they did it. And I like Brian Daboll. And I think Brian Daboll had a bright future with Jackson Dart. But man, you're the head coach. You coach the whole team. You have to hold your coordinators responsible for what's going on. Kind of like when we get to the Lions and I talk about Dan Campbell. Okay. You got to do that, man. And if you don't, 6-4 as opposed to 2-8, are you kidding me? That's playoffs as opposed to not playoffs. You got to go. Now, that being said, the Packers are a team that I cannot trust at all. Coming into New York to play the Giants should be a get back game for them or a get right game for them. But I'm not sure it will be. And you ever notice how when a coach gets fired during the season and they name an interim coach, the team seems to rally and they at least win that first game?
Yeah,
It happens a lot, doesn't it?
yes, it does.
I'm going to go with the Giants. I'm going to ride that wave, and I'm going to go with the Giants on this one. Not only because of that, but because if Jackson Dart gets through the protocol, I'm pretty sure they'll pull this off. If he doesn't, because they're starting Jameis, again, I feel really good about it. Jameis is happy to get the start. He wants to show out. He's got a cannon for an arm. He might throw 4 picks, but if he throws 4 touchdowns, guess what? The Packers might fold it up. I'm going to go with the Giants.
All right. What can I tell you? Going with his squad, going with the Giants, going against a 10.9 bias score favoring the Packers. So, all right. Way to stick your neck out, Benny. Way to stick your neck out. There you go.
Wait, all those factors I just named, that's not such a big neck stick out. There's
The number
factors
one, the
involved.
number one factor is they got a new coach, so they're going to rally around them, which does happen a lot.
It happens. I'd be different if it didn't happen.
Yeah, it does happen
And
a
I
lot.
just said, well, because of that, this is, but that happens a lot.
Yes,
Not
it
only
does.
that,
At least in
but you
my
got the
mind, it
spirit of
seems like
James.
I've seen it happen. So,
But you got, look at the other 10 guys in the huddle, and Russell Wilson walks in the huddle, and look at that same 10 guys when Jameis walks in the huddle.
okay,
Let's go. Let's
okay,
go.
better energy, better energy.
Better energy.
All right. Next up, excuse me. Texans at Titans bias plus score of 24.1. 24.1 are favoring the Texans, Benny. Because the Texans are ranked 8th in net points, and the Titans are in absolute last place, 32nd place, minus 14.1. And the Texans have the turnover differential going in their favor. So a big 24.1, Benny. What you got?
So I got a mea culpa. Last week, I said Davis Mills was not the type of backup you want to have to depend on in the long term. That may still be true, but in the short term, he's actually the perfect backup to have and to depend on. He's
Okay.
been on the team. Excuse me.
I said, okay.
He's been on the team since 2021.
Mm-hmm.
He got drafted by the Texans in the third round back then. And even though the Texans have been through four different offensive coordinators, he's been right there before and during CJ Stroud's tenure, in all the same meeting rooms, watching all the same film, listening to the same OCs, studying the same playbooks. So he was ready. He was ready. Now, he wasn't super efficient over the course of the first three quarters against the Jaguars, but in the fourth quarter, he was money. He led the Texans on three consecutive touchdown drives, not three consecutive scoring drives, three consecutive touchdown drives. Big time for Davis Mills. Davis Mills. I want to call him David, but his first name is Davis. I'm sorry. Now the Titans are coming off the bye. Last time we saw them, they lost a tough one at home to the Chargers, game that was way closer than it should have been. Davis Mills, David Mills, CJ Stroud, whoever. Titans just don't score enough and they can't stop anybody. So I'm going with the Texans.
All righty, all righty. Like the Texans, going with the bias. Little tough to go with the last place team. Makes sense. Okay. Chargers at Jaguars. Bias plus score 1.4. Benny favors the Chargers. A silly millimeter, like they used to say. Chargers are ranked 11th. And the Jaguars are ranked 21st in net points. But the Jaguars have the positive turnover differential. Chargers have the negative, and that can make up a big difference. However, in this case, it just pared down the bias in favor of the Chargers. They're still favored at 1.4. So this should be a good game. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this one. What do you got?
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, and I'll tell you why. So the Jaguars played the Texans last week. I just got finished talking to you about the Texans and Davis Mills with his hot fourth quarter, not to mention the Houston defense. They pretty much did the thing to Jacksonville last week. It didn't help that Jacksonville turned the ball over twice. They didn't lean on their running game. Uh, They absolutely didn't lean on their running game the way they should have. And the fourth quarter, their defense just completely collapsed. Kudos to Davis Mills for taking advantage, but those guys went to sleep on defense in the fourth quarter. At the most important time, they couldn't quite seem to stop anybody. So even though the Jaguars have been great with takeaways this season, and they turned two of them into points even in this game, but their offense is extremely stale, extremely vanilla. I'm very surprised at that too, because the head coach is Liam Cohen, who came from Tampa Bay last year, and I thought he would really wake their offense up. I don't know if it's a personnel thing. I know their best receivers had a terrible season this year, and he's now hurt, Brian Thomas Jr. So I'm not sure what's going on over there. If I was them, I'd lean a lot more on Travis Etienne, though. I would lean on him like crazy, but for some reason, they don't seem to want to do that, much to their demise. Chargers are heating up right now, and they made the Steelers their third straight win after losing 3 or 4 games previously. So they're on a big time upswing. The offensive line is playing amazingly well, considering that both their starting tackles are out with injury. One of them was a first rounder, Joe Alt. He's out with injury, but they're still humming along. Their offense in their game last week was very balanced. The run game was very productive. Defensively, they're top 10 in yards against and points against. That's doggone good for the Chargers defense. Ooh, formidable, formidable. Yeah. Jags are kind of going this way. Chargers are definitely going that way. Got to go with the Chargers and the bias.
All right, Benny. Buccaneers at Bills. The bias plus score of 1.3 favors the Bills, Benny. I think this could be a good game. You want to argue against that?
No, I'm not going to argue against that one. Especially after what I've seen over the last couple of weeks. It's been a little troubling for both of these teams for me. They're both 6-3 though. And well, let's talk about the Bucs first. They're the visiting team. They had their opportunities for another come from behind victory like they did earlier in the season several times. But they weren't able to mount a serious run game, and that left it completely up to Baker Mayfield. It's a little bit too much for him this time. He did throw 3 touchdown passes. The last one actually pulled them within 5 points, but there was only 33 seconds remaining in regulation before that happened, or by the time that happened, and that was a little bit too late. Now, after the big win over Kansas City in Week 9, and I remember what I had here. That's why I started off saying Kansas City. So Week 9 they played Kansas City, the Bills. They beat Kansas City. So they had that on the calendar come up Week 9. They go in there, they do their thing. Well, it was actually a game in Buffalo. They do their thing. Then they look at the schedule, and 2 weeks later, Week 11, they got a big game coming against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But in the middle, they had to go to Miami and play the Dolphins. This was a classic trap game. If you look up trap game in the dictionary, this was it. And they fell hard.
Yeah.
They got completely outplayed in a way that just seemed unimaginable. It was crazy. If you didn't know anything about the NFL season and that was the first game you watched, you would say, "Oh man, them Dolphins are tough. The Bills suck." That's how that game looked. That was nuts. That was really nuts. Now, can they recover? They're coming home. Got Bills Mafia behind them. But the division's getting a little bit tougher than I think the Bills expected it to be. They got a lot of worries. And their run defense is shabby. Luckily for them, Bucky Irving is still hurt. And I don't think he's going to be ready for this game. But they still got Rashad White, and they still got, what's his name, Sean Tucker. They're not chopped liver, believe me. The two of them against this shabby run defense should be able to do enough to help Baker out. I'm going to pick the Bucs to go up there and beat the Bills and cause a lot of problems up there in Buffalo with the Mafia.
All right.
But
Going against the bias. It's a
going
small
against the
bias,
bias,
1.3.
and I'm going with the Buccaneers. Right, it's a small bias anyway.
Yeah, small bias
So
going with the Bucks.
I'm going to take a shot at that one.
All right. Well, ain't gonna be no cannons being fired, Benny. So this is what you know.
No cannons up there. No,
No cannons. No
might
cannons.
be snowballs.
Could be. All right, there you go. Bucks at Bills. And the fact, I don't know if it's going to be cold, but we're about at that point where now the weather might start to, have an impact. And you got the Bucks coming up from Tampa Bay.
That
So
could be. That could be. I mean, the weather's already starting to play a factor. Supposedly, it didn't look as bad as it was in that Philly Green Bay game. But from what I'm hearing, it was extremely cold and it was
yeah,
windy. It was
okay.
very windy. So that had a lot to do with how that game played out also. And then in the Bears game, we had a little snow. Wasn't much, it
Yeah.
was just flurries, but it's coming.
All right, there we go. Week 11. Things are changing. Buccaneers at Bills. Ben's going with the Bucks. All right, this could be the game of the week, Benny. Seahawks at
Oh,
Rams.
we've been talking this one up.
Been talking them up. Bias plus score of 4.3 favors the Rams, Benny. That hot team. Seahawks are ranked second in net points. The Rams are ranked third. It turns on turnover differential with the Seahawks at minus 0.4 and the Rams at plus 0.8. And that's how you get it done. What do you got?
Uh, I think I kind of said enough during the ranking segment to kind of let people know which way I'm leaning, but I'm going to go through this now. Both teams are 7-2. They're both on top of the division with the same record. However, probably division record wise or head to head, Seahawks are sitting at number one, Rams are sitting number two in the division. Now, the Seahawks deserve to be sitting at the top. Sam Darnold's playing really well. At this point, it seems to me that the Seahawks are the most complete team in the NFC, in the entire NFC. Complete team. They went up 35-0 on division opponent Arizona by the second quarter. 35-0 by the second quarter. And they ended the first half up 38-7. Oof, it was a tidal wave. Two of those touchdowns came on recovered fumbles by DeMarcus Lawrence on the way to a conclusive 44-22 win. Now, the Rams also won in dominant fashion over a division opponent. That would be, namely, your San Francisco 49ers. A dominating win over the Niners, 42-26. So the Seahawks scored 44 and gave up 22. The Rams scored 42 and gave up 26. These teams can't get no closer. But as I noted when we were going through the rankings, there was some separation in points against along with turnover differential in favor of the Rams. So I'm going to live by the rankings. And I love the Seahawks. Something's telling me the Seahawks are going to win this game. If the Seahawks win this game, I will not be surprised, but I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to go with the bias.
All right, going with the
Not
bias,
just
going with the Rams.
now, this is different from when I normally go with the bias. Normally, when I go with the bias, it's because I just agree with the team that the bias picks. But I'm using the bias to make my decision this time. I'm going with the Rams and I'm going with the bias.
All right, there you go. Going with the Rams, going with the bias. Another NFC West matchup, Benny. 49ers at Cardinals. Bias plus score of 1.3 is favoring those Cardinals, Benny, over my beloved 49ers, who are ranked 17th in net points to the Cardinals, 19th, but we're negative on the turnover differential and they are positive, and that's as close as you can get. 1.3 favoring the Cardinals, Benny. What you got?
Yeah. Wow. 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 4, 10. Yeah. Okay. Just checking these records here. Cardinals are 3-6. They're playing better offensively since Jacoby Brissett took over for Kyler Murray, who is now on IR, but they're still only 3-6. Also, Marvin Harrison Jr. just had an emergency appendectomy on Monday. Today is Wednesday. So he's going to be out at least until week 12. He definitely will not be ready to play this weekend. It's tough, tough, tough. Now, the Niners simply ran into a buzzsaw at home last week against the LA Rams. With their two best defensive players out for the season, Bosa and Fred Warner. And they didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. So even if they play well enough to stay in third place in the NFC West, that may not be good enough for a playoff spot. But I would at least expect them to do that. So I'm going to pick the Niners to beat Arizona. Big day for McCaffrey.
Wow, really?
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. Going against the bias, going with my beloved 49ers, man. Chiefs at Broncos, Benny. Bias plus score 5.4 favors the Chiefs.
This is my game of the week.
This is your game of the week. Chiefs are ranked 5th in net points. Broncos are 7th. Chiefs are plus 0.4 in turnover differential. Broncos are minus 0.4. All helping the Chiefs maintain a bias plus score of 5.4, Benny. This is your game of the week. What you got?
So the Raiders lost last week to the Broncos defense. Score was 10-7. I say that jokingly, but I also say it because they sacked Geno 6 times, bringing their season total to a whopping 46 sacks. They are way ahead of everybody else. They are sack monsters. They also had an interception. They also recorded 5 tackles for loss, and they kept Ashton Genty under wraps. Yes, the offense was sloppy. Yes, Bo Nix was inefficient. Yes, they will have to play much better against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, who have been waiting all season to get their offense in flow and get all their injured players on offense back, are going to have a tough task against this Broncos defense. These boys are rough. Division matchup, AFC West. I got to go with the Broncos. I got to. They're my new AFC favorite team, and I'm going to stick with them. I love defense. I love the way they play defense.
Well, I can understand that. They're ranked 3rd, and Chiefs are ranked 10th, but challenge with the Broncos, 17th in scoring, only putting up 23.5 points per game. Chiefs are at least putting up 26, so it's not a big differential.
Right, but what's your magic number?
28.
28. So they're putting up 23, and their defense is awesome. That's close enough for me.
Well, their defense is ranked 3rd. Guess what the Chiefs' defense is ranked?
What?
4th. They are 0.4 points apart in terms of points allowed.
Okay.
So, there you go. Sticking with your guns, sticking with the Broncos over the Chiefs and going against the bias. All right, Benny, there you go. Ravens at Browns. Division game, I do believe.
Yes, sir.
Bias plus score 6.1 favors the Ravens. They are on the way back, Benny. They're coming back. They're ranked 14th, and the Browns are ranked 28th. Need I say more?
Yeah, there was a point in the season when they were 1-5. Now they're 4-5. So Lamar let you know we can't lose. We can't lose. We cannot afford to lose. And they're playing like it. Now, here's the funny thing about the Browns. Without the benefit of a kickoff return for a touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown by the Jets, I'm pretty confident that Cleveland would have won that game last weekend. And that would have secured their 3rd win. Unfortunately for them, special teams is an extremely big part of the game. The Jets' return teams were good, and the Browns' coverage teams were not. That was the difference in that game. Now, for Baltimore, Lamar didn't have to be Superman in this one in order to beat the Vikings. All they had to do was run the ball more than they passed it, which is what they did, keep the clock moving, control the time of possession, which they did, and take advantage of the Vikings' mistakes, which they did. Oh, yeah, almost forgot. You know, every Ravens game, I got to report on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had 23 touches for a total of 84 yards. That's 23 total touches. I think he caught 3 passes. I think he ran the ball 20 times. But he only got 84 yards. However, even though those aren't dominating numbers yardage-wise, Those are, I'm going to keep the clock moving and wear your butt down numbers. And that's exactly what they did. So kudos to Ravens OC for finally figuring out the winning combination, or the winning formula, rather. Again, this is going to be a tough game. The Browns have played almost every single game really, really tough. They're having trouble winning, but their defense is a lot to be, or I should say, they're not to be played with. They are formidable. Their problem is scoring touchdowns. That's their problem. So because they still have that problem, ooh, man, I smell upset. Nah, that can't be upset. Lamar's not going to let that happen. Lamar's not going to let that happen. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm going to go with the bias, and I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Upset. Well, could be. Never know. Never know. On any
Never know.
given Sunday, right, Ben?
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. Well, speaking of Sunday night, and Benny, we neglected to mention that the first game, let me make sure I get this right, because we've neglected to mention that the Panthers, is it the Panthers? No, it's the Commanders Dolphins game.
Yeah.
Is going to be played. It's an international game.
Madrid. It is? Oh, okay, okay. Madrid, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be in Madrid. So
that first timer for Madrid? I know we had a first timer in Berlin.
Yeah, I believe that might be the first time in Madrid. Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely. So there you go. And this is, you were talking about game of the week. This could be the game of the week, man. Lions at Eagles. The bias plus score is 6.7. Favors the Lions, Benny. Lions are ranked fourth in net points. Eagles are 12th. The Eagles aren't beating teams by a lot, 2.9 points on average, whereas the Lions 9.2 points on average, and turnover differential actually favors the Lions also. But the Lions got to come in to Philly. They will not be in their nice little dome. And, you know, who knows? AJ might actually get a ball thrown to him.
That's funny. So I was talking about people saying that the Eagles-Packers game was a defensive battle. I will say this: the Eagles defense was better than the Packers defense. I'll give them that. But again, that so-called defensive battle to me was one-sided in favor of Philadelphia. Philly was tough against the run, just like the Packers were. The difference was the Eagles had 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, and they recovered 2 fumbles. So that was the big difference there. Now the Lions, let me just say this about the Lions. Who'd they play last week? The Commanders.
The Commanders,
right? They
won
stomped
by
them.
22 points.
Yes, they beat the Commanders 44-22. However, this is what I found most I don't want to say surprising, but most intriguing. Okay. So over the course of the game, I think during the game, once or twice, somebody kind of intimated that Dan Campbell looked like he was calling the plays.
He took over play calling duties.
That was confirmed after the game was over. But I don't know that they actually confirmed that he was actually calling the plays and really calling the offense. What I am pretty sure of, at least, he was on the headset with the quarterback along with the OC and maybe suggesting or demanding that certain things be run at certain times, as opposed to calling the actual play out to the quarterback.
Okay.
Either way, I heard some stats today that really tell me he was not satisfied with the way the offense was moving, and he did make some changes. So in that game, they went in motion 58% of the offensive snaps, which is a high for the season. They ran play action 51% of the offensive snaps, also a season high. And 23% of his dropbacks, he threw the ball outside of the pocket. So he had bootlegs, scrambles, things like that. Again, another season high. So he wasn't confined to the pocket. Jared Goff, we're talking about, wasn't confined to the pocket. They ran play action more often, and he went in motion more often. 58% of the snaps were play action. Were motion, I'm sorry. Play action was 51%, which tells me that they're turning back into the 2023-2024 Lions as opposed to the 2025 Lions, which makes them even more scary. Okay.
Ah,
Dan Patrick was in the meetings with Ben Johnson when Ben Johnson was the OC. He knows what he likes. He may not be a great play caller, but he knows what he likes. He knows what he wants, and he knows what certain plays can do for this offense. So he's at least doing that. He's also, and again, I'm not going to take credit for figuring this out, but as soon as I heard Dan Orlovsky say it, I agreed 100%. He said, when they play the Eagles, the challenge will be who's going to cover Jahmyr Gibbs if we send him out of the backfield on a route, and who's going to cover Jameson Williams when we send him on a crossing route across the field, just like the Eagles do with their fastest guy, Devontae Smith. Who's going to cover him? That's going to be the challenge for the Eagles. I'm picking the Lions to win this game.
ooh, with the bias, going with the Lions. Okay, all right. Sunday night, we'll get a chance to just watch that one game featured. I love it. I love it. I love it. Monday night, Benny. Cowboys at Raiders. Bias plus score of 7.4 favors the Cowboys. They're ranked 20th. Raiders are ranked 29th. Yeah, this could be the upset.
Uh,
What do you got?
wow. Holy smokes. Raiders play Denver. Remember, we just talked about Denver. The score was 10-7 in favor of Denver. So that's 7 points the Raiders scored on their second possession of the game. After that, they were completely shut out for the rest of the game. But it was ugly. It was ugly. They punted 6 times. 4 of those were 3 and outs. They had 1 turnover on downs, 2 turnovers on interceptions, and a blocked punt. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Now, Cowboys are coming off the bye. Last time we saw them, they were losing by 10 to Arizona. This one's a toss-up, man. This might be the most entertaining game of the day.
Really?
Yeah, this is crazy. Now, the Cowboys are coming off the bye. So I'm going to try to give Brian Schottenheimer a little bit of credit here. You can't fix that defense, but maybe they can patch it up. There might be a guy or two coming back. I don't know. They might have something new for Dak. I don't know. But I know the Raiders are a mess. They're really a mess. If the Cowboys can figure out a way to slow down Ashton Genty, they should win the game because that's how everybody else is beating the Raiders. They
Yeah.
keep him under 60, 70 yards on however many carries he has, and you can beat them because Gino's going to give you the ball. Gino's going to throw a couple to you no matter what. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one.
All
I'm
right,
gonna pick
Benny,
them to
going
win.
with the Cowboys, going with the bias for Monday Night Football.
I picked a lot of road teams. I picked a lot of road teams. Holy smokes.
Let's
Yo,
think about it.
I'm looking at this list. I picked a heck of a lot of road teams. I'm either going to come out smelling like a rose or a pile of garbage,
One or the other.
one way or the other.
One way or the other. Well, Benny, when we wrap up the week, there's only one piece of business. There's one very, very, very important piece of business that we have to take care of, where we look back 1 week to week 10 and figure out who was the bias plus buster of the week, Benny, with
This one
a
was easy. This
big
one was
A
easy.
score.
This one was easy. I, I'm watching as the game is being played. I'm saying to myself, Buster,
Buster, Miami Dolphins, Buster. Yeah, nobody was expecting that to happen. That's for sure. And then with the bias they had doing against them, amazing. So, congratulations to the Miami Dolphins, bias plus busters of the week. Beating up on those Bills, Benny. Beating up on the Bills. What can I tell you? All right, Benny. That's all I got. What you got? Anything else?
that's it. Looking forward to the games.
Looking forward to the games. We
We
have a
got Jets
classic
Patriots
game.
tomorrow night. Jets Patriots tomorrow night. Okay. Yeah. Get another look at Drake May. He's fun to watch.
Fun to watch, man, for sure, for sure. Again, click the notification bell, click the subscribe button, and you can always reach us at Ben and Barry on football.com. And I think this is pretty much up. There go your coach, Benny. Mike Kafka coming in and handle some business for you. He look kind of mean though. See, Christmas. I don't think they want to mess with
Quarterback.
him.
Who'd he
Huh?
play for? Who'd he play for?
Kafka?
Pop quiz.
Niners.
Eagles.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Who'd he back up?
I don't know who.
Donovan McNabb.
Oh my goodness. Gee, me Christmas. All right. Eagles, Giants. That's history right there. All right. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Peace.